This is Artful Discourse, your weekly escape into the vibrant world of creativity, culture, and intellectual exploration. I'm your host, Benjamin Kirk, and I invite you to join me on a journey through the rich tapestry of human thought and the beating heart of artistic expression at Fresno State's College of Arts and Humanities. Today we have three guests. The first is Dr. Aaron Koo, Associate Professor of Art Education here at Fresno State. She is joined by two of her students, Corbin Calloway and Vivian De La Cruz. Now, Corbin Calloway is a master's student in art education, and Vivian De La Cruz is an undergraduate in studio art. And today we're discussing an exciting virtual art education lecture series that is focused on AI. The series recently kicked off with Zhujian Zhu, assistant art professor at the Robotics Institute in the School of Computer Science at the Carnegie Mellon University, and Jenna Sitela, a Finnish artist based in Berlin. She and her studio work with biology and computational systems. Now, AI is a really hot topic these days, and I'm excited to dive into this discussion. So welcome, Dr. Aaron Koo.
Hello, good to have you. Good to be here with you.
And also welcome our students, Vivian and Corbin.
Hello.
Hello.
Now, first, I'd like to ask the same question of all of you. And I told you the first question might be a little difficult. So, Dr. Aaron Koo, what do you love about art?
Oh, tough question. Actually, I love everything about art, but before coming to actually United States, I didn't really know the power of art because I grew up in Korea with my own language, like a mother tongue Korean. So I didn't really know the power of communication through art. And since I came here, I see it's totally different format that we can kind of communicate with other people in different way through art. So art has a really special power, and I learned it since I came to US.
Vivian, same question.
So with art, I love how much one could get out of art emotionally and be able to kind of just navigate their own internal realm through art. I think that's beautiful, and I think it's a healing thing. Yeah.
And Corbin?
Um, Pretty much what Vivian said, just being able to express yourself and kind of furthering beyond that is just kind of giving a avenue for a lot of people to connect with your art and to kind of give people like a physical thing to look at and connect with and to share, because I ultimately think that art is kind of the root of our existence and why we're here, and I just think it's really, really powerful in that sense. So yeah.
Now, Corbin, you're a master's student in art education. When do you plan to graduate with your master's?
I plan to graduate and walk this May, but I will be extending my master's degree for the next semester, just to have my big thesis show that's going to be happening here at Fresno State. So I potentially have one more semester after this one.
Mhm.
Now, we were talking before the show a little bit, and you've been a teacher for quite a while, correct?
Yes, this is my 4th year.
All right. So what are your plans after your graduate degree?
After I graduate, I hope to keep spreading the message of art and healing, and just kind of share my journey, and just kind of be able to share, keep keep doing this with my students, and keep allowing them to express themselves, and just be a role model in their lives. And then I also live in the mountains, so I want to start community art classes up there, because I think that it is such a need up there, and really everywhere. So I want to be able to start producing videos on YouTube, kind of just allowing teachers to be able to locate and maybe implement into their curriculum with their students.
And can you talk a little bit about your teaching work now, just briefly?
Yeah, so my teaching philosophy has evolved over the years. At first, I didn't have a super great idea of where I wanted to go, but within this last year, I have decided that my teaching philosophy is all about expressionism and allowing students to make mistakes and being able to sit with those mistakes and work through those mistakes because a lot of times when we do experience mistakes, we have this internal dialogue where we are very hard on ourselves or we are comparing ourselves to other people. And so I just hope to yeah, to just kind of get them to, or I hope to expand that a little bit more.
Now, Vivian, when do you plan to graduate?
I plan to graduate this fall, but I will be participating in the walking ceremony as well this summer or or after spring.
Do you have plans after graduation?
Yes, so after graduation, I plan to pursue my single subject credential and to also just see what other opportunities there are around, perhaps participate in galleries as an intern or just do gallery work. I plan to still continue to teach as well,
Yeah.
anywhere I can. Just I enjoy that connection.
Now, you're an undergraduate in studio art. Do you have a focus?
Yes, I currently focus in ceramics and sculpture.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And what draws you to that?
I think working with my hands has always been very meditative, and I mean, I can achieve that same meditative process through drawing as well. But I feel like sculpture and ceramics are just a lot more physical and have to do with like technical skills, like working with heavy machinery and saws, other power tools. I think that's very fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Aaron, you had your first AI in art lecture series last spring. Now, it was just after art or ChatGPT was released to the public, but you started working on it before ChatGPT came out, or anybody even really knew that that existed. So, um, how long has AI been on your radar?
So actually, my whole research focus has been related to our kind of social surrounding, like a social impact. And so when I learned about AI maybe about 2 years ago, I felt like, oh, something is coming. So we need to be really prepared as an artist and art educator. So I dig into the topic about 2 years ago with my colleagues who are doing my research together related to AI and its implication in art education. So the first series that I organized was last spring, and with the five different artists and artist group, mainly in California and one from South Korea. And it was really, really impactful. So I decided to expand this one a bit further. So this year I invited 10 people from all over the nation and also from the European country.
So, tell me a little about the series this spring.
So again, it's a 10 different kind of artists, scholars, and art critics coming from all different backgrounds. So if you just see one person, you may just understand a little bit of what we are covering throughout this series. So I again encourage all of our community to be part of as much as they can. So it's a 10 different artists and scholar in different field, like studying like a computer graphic, like art, and even the cultural discourses and so on, like robotic as well. So there are really exciting presentation coming on. So I try to promote this event throughout the community, throughout the school. So if you never heard of it, please join us. We have six more sessions to go, and it will end on March 15.
And you can find information on all of those sessions on calendar.fresnostate.edu. We also have a story on our blog that lays them out, fresnostatecah.com. So you can go there and find information about all the speakers. There are 10. So it's a little bit too much to kind of go through each one. But just as a whole, I want to turn to you, Vivian. As a current student, what are you most excited about with the lecture series?
With the lecture series, I think I'm most excited that everyone's going to, well, whoever does join and sit in on the lecture series, they'll be able to educate themselves more about a tool that is new and that they could use to their advantage. I think all tools, I mean, if you think about the most simplest tool, it's probably fire, and fire could be dangerous, but it could also be very helpful. So, just like AI, I think it could be very helpful, and misinformation will keep people away from technology. So, I'm excited that people will kind of break that barrier and get to access that.
And Corbin, you as a as a current teacher and as a graduate student, what are you excited about with this series?
Pretty similarly, just to kind of expand my knowledge on how we can use this as a tool. Currently, I do teach a digital art class, and AI has come up in our class, and we've discussed it. And a lot of the students kind of have like a strong outlook towards AI, and they kind of see it as pretty negative as being digital artists. And so we talked about it. We talked about how it could be used as a tool and how it could help our creative endeavors and in ways that it's not necessarily doing the answer for us, but kind of maybe helping us get to that point, or just kind of being more open to possibilities. So it's been great to learn more about the different backgrounds of these people that are being interviewed.
All right, Aaron, can you talk a little bit about the lecturers who are coming and why were they chosen? Why is their work important? Because some of these are really big names.
Actually, I just want to come back to
Oh, okay.
Vivian and Corvin's comment. Like, um, some of you are aware the title of this series is AI or not AI. So I try to make kind of open and rounded perspective for this kind of conversation. Like
Hmm.
as Corbin said, like a student or even the art teacher, they oftentimes they are scared of what AI can do in our education setting. So the reason why I'm trying to bring all different people, some may be promoting AI use in maybe education field or art field, but some other like they are also critic, like they are more focusing on like a ethical use of AI in school setting or in our daily lives. So yeah, again, going back to your own question, like we want us to be really informed in through the various perspective from 10 different scholar in the field. When I chose those people, I tried to bring as much as various background I can include. Like for example, the first speaker, he was actually he is a associate professor at Carnegie Mellon University, and
Hmm.
as a researcher and computer scientist, he is doing the creative endeavor using AI. But he himself said he is not an artist, but he is creating artwork. So I try to include those different aspects of art and perspective toward AI in many different ways. So, for example, one of the main key speaker we have, his name is Lev Manovich, and he will join us February 29th. And he's one of the influential speaker and theorists in art and media art and aesthetic this world. And if I invite only him, people who are attending that session may guys kind of learn his own perspective only, and it's not the purpose of this series. I want our student and community member to be exposed to open-ended conversation throughout the 2 months length of 10 different workshops. So we can like a individual based on our own individual kind of surrounding and previous knowledge, we can understand and digest in a way that help that can be helpful in our everyday life. So this is kind of main focus of this series. And again, I try to include the people from different fields, and I reach out to actually other colleagues on campus as well. Like art and humanity is the grounding body of this series, but I also contact the College of Science and Mathematics, and they also co-sponsor
Oh,
this series. So again, I just want to kind of blur the boundary between what art related art like artificial intelligence and kind of the impact that that can generate to our kind of human being and our everyday lives.
hmm. Now, AI is a really hot topic in the news right now. What trends are you seeing in the art world around AI?
So it's really interesting because every day we hear something about AI. Like yesterday I heard OpenAI just released their text to video generator. Like a Sora is another new tool that people can use. Every day it's changing so much. So when I had a personal interview with the 5 different artists that I invited last year, they said they don't really we cannot say care, but they don't really pay much attention to this fast uh, pacing kind of evolvement
Mhm.
as a kind of pioneer. Like all those scholars that I invited, they are pioneer. Like they have been doing AI related research or art practices over 10 years, like more than 10 years. So they have been in this field for so long. But right now, this kind of trend, like evolving fast pacing, like a trend, is kind of opening the possibility for population, like
Mhm.
just general public, but um, um, they are more into how AI and AI tool can be a way to inspire themselves. So actually today we had a really exciting talk with Anna Riedler from UK, and she said she's really slow person. So she's her main object of her artwork is tulip, and she took like a 10,000 tulip picture. So she created her own database. She is not using the just public images on the web. And she said owning this kind of her own data set makes like it shows her privilege, but at the same time it can be really really kind of meditating process as an artist as well. So again, I just want to bring those different perspective and practices that we can get inspiration from through this.
And that kind of brings up some of the ethical issues,
Mhm.
the ethical issues surrounding AI models using outside photographs or outside text or anything else to create new outputs that people think is original but may not be. That can we talk about a little bit about some of the ethical considerations? And this is open to anybody.
I'm sure when we use AI tool, like it doesn't need to be in art classroom. Like it can be any other classroom, like a chat GPT, even any class student, they are using it for as a part of their assignment, right?
Mhm.
So it's a big deal, but it depends on how student perceive and how educator guide them to see those kind of platform as it can be an inspirational tool, right? Vivian and
Yeah.
I, yeah, we had this kind of conversation last year.
I think it's always noticeable if someone is using AI as a plagiarism tool. I've used ChatGPT in assignments, admittedly, but it was never to copy or like copy and paste. More so, I want it to help develop my think way of thinking when approaching a essay prompt, and I just needed a few like pointers on how to make something not so awkwardly phrased, or even to kind of like point out what concepts could I develop, because the essay was completely my own, but it helped as like an assistant or like a tutor to just have someone kind of like help my mind just expand calmly, and also like, take whatever points was also given that would have been additional good points, and then I had to conduct my own research further, and I enjoyed that. It just took off the anxiety of just completely keeping it like within my own brain. Almost like when you write out a problem, and you like by writing you kind of just alleviate your mind and make more space.
I know I use ChatGPT more and more. In fact, I used it on 3 stories today. um, and what I've been doing, because I come from a more of a journalism background, and I kind of think of it as another writer. So when I do it, I cite that Chat GPT at the bottom of my article was used in this report. Or and so that's kind of been my way of dealing with it. And you're right, it's never exactly what was output.
Oh
That's
yeah.
always the starting point.
Because, like, even if you did ask him, "Hey, write me this whole prompt that was given," it does not sound like an actual person wrote it. And, like, I guess there are some different AI programs that probably could sound more advanced, but I think at the end of it, the journey with academia is one's own journey, and that will show eventually. And
Right.
I don't think it can keep us from being smart people.
In my experience, actually, there's one instance that really stands out to me this last year that I have been teaching digital art. I have students of all different backgrounds. I have some students that excel phenomenally in the digital art world, and some students, this is their first time trying. And so, as we were kind of talking before, students, they build walls depending on their experiences, depending on previous teachers or parents or friends, depending on what their experiences are. So I have this one student, and he was having a really hard time understanding the Photoshop and Illustrator tools and techniques. And so our last project was to create a surreal movie poster digitally. And so what he did is he used AI to kind of render different photographs and then manipulate them, put them together. And then he used his knowledge that we had learned with typography and text, and was able to embed it into the image. And so he told me, hey, I did use AI. And I was like, that's okay. Like, this is your first time. You're figuring it out. I know it hasn't been an easy journey for you, because this kid has been trying really, really hard all semester. And I can tell it's something that doesn't quite jive with him. But he is also a student that excels phenomenally in animation. So I've kind of learned that we have like our mediums that kind of stick with us. So for him, using AI as a tool to kind of get through these obstacles where he didn't quite understand, maybe using Photoshop and Illustrator to the best of his ability, he was still able to produce something very, very incredible visually, and still incorporating his creation of like the text and the colors and the rendering. And so it did turn out to be pretty cool.
Now, Vivian, you mentioned before you talked about AI as maybe being another tool,
Yeah.
and so I kind of wanted to, from your perspective, or actually from maybe a historical perspective, looking at art trends over the ages,
Mm.
how big of a deal is AI with art?
I mean, I was thinking about this like a second ago. um, Before, like during Renaissance times, there would be workshops of master painters or master artists, and they'd delegate another task to their workshop, or they'd have many people working on a singular tapestry. If it was a tapestry from, I don't know, like maybe Brussels or Flanders given to Spain, like they would just spend a lot of time, like 12 other artists, or other just bunch of other artists, just trying to make this singular big piece, and it wasn't exactly from the workshop of that prolific artist that
Hmm.
they were working under. It was all of them, it was all of their artwork. And then I think about a more contemporary artist, Ai Weiwei. He's an artist, and he's the mastermind behind all of these great concepts, but at the end of it, like he's hiring a bunch of artists to kind of complete his work and carry out his vision. So I kind of think of AI like that in a way. And there'll I guess there's always just a tool or a team, just a support. I think of it as a more contemporary support, but now it's digital, it's outside of us, but it also requires us to operate it as well.
Anybody else have anything to add on that?
In my experience, using AI as a tool, I've had pretty severe artist block for a very long time. And so I'm currently working to fill up the Phoebe Conley Gallery for my thesis show. And so I'm also a ceramic artist, and that's what I primarily focus on. And so I've been building these forms, and I wasn't sure what it was going to look like, or what my vision for it was going to look like. So I did. I pulled up AI, and I kind of typed in kind of what I was kind of expecting it to look like. And I kind of, was very descriptive with my words. Like, I primarily focus on like mental illness. So just kind of like abstract forms that, are surrounded in like a vast meadow with like, darkness coming through, and just being able to see what images it did render for me. It didn't necessarily give me something to like to copy, but it gave me an idea of kind of how I wanted it to look, and kind of how what I envisioned the mood and the tone like to be for my show. So that is my experience with that, using it as a tool.
Kind of adding on to this, and I really wanted to ask the students in the room, where do you think it's going in the future?
Man, it could go so many places. It really depends on humanity, I've had conversations with people that have said, "Oh, AI is going to take over the world and we're all going to be controlled technologically. Our DNA is going to be uploaded." And I'm just like, I don't know if we could say that right now.
Mhm.
um the best case scenario, it helps a lot of people just expand their minds. And I mean, I guess we've kind of been given some theories as to how it can turn out. Like, I remember watching this movie, not necessarily theories, but I guess mind frames around where it could be. Like, I remember watching this Marvel movie. I think it was Black Panther, and the sister, she's an inventor, and she makes all of these different advanced weapons for her community. And she's using this like robotic system that's almost like her assistant, and who's like talking to her and kind of helping her figure out where she went wrong with certain things, or where she can improve. And I think AI could be used like that in the future as well, just kind of like an assistant. It needs humans to operate it and to work with it to work. It's within our technological devices, sorry. So I don't know. I kind of see it being helpful. Maybe people could use it for the bad. It's, up in the air, and it's pretty exciting to see where it would go.
All right, Aaron, what do you hope the impact of the lecture series will be on Fresno State students and on the community as a whole?
So again, I actually had a similar question, and whenever I interviewed the AI artist that I invited and interviewed, I asked question of like what it may look like in 5 years from now, and nobody could really say it. Like, I mean, this question is, all of us are kind of curious about the answer, but nobody really knows. And so the reason why we are right now hosting this webinar series, because I want us to be really informed in an open-minded way. Like, we can learn from 10 different people this semester. We learn it from like a 5 different group and people from last year. So based on this kind of opportunity, we are kind of better informed and prepare for the uncertain involvement. And going back to the AI as a tool, we cannot really answer to that question too, because AI is a bit different from the previous kind of tool that we used to have. Like, sometimes in AI related research, we say like AI is either tool or collaborator. Like, we are debating this kind of like a question. So again, just through this kind of webinar series, if we can be more exposed to this kind of conversation that oftentimes we cannot really hear and have opportunity to talk together in the Fresno, the Central Valley area. So if people can be more have opportunity to learn about it through this, that will be the main purpose of this series.
All right. Well, time flies when we're having interesting conversations. So, Aaron, Vivian, Corbin, thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll see you next week for another edition of Artful Discourse.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Artful Discourse is a production of the College of Arts and Humanities at California State University, Fresno. The Dean is Dr. Honora Chapman, and the Associate Dean is Dr. Sergio Laporta. This program is written, directed, and produced by me, Benjamin Kirk, the college's communication specialist. The theme song for Artful Discourse is Maiden Voyage by Fresno State music professor Benjamin Boone from his album, Joy. More information about his music can be found at benjaminboone.com. Special thanks to KFSR and FSR Underground General Manager Julie Lindahl for making this show possible. You can learn more about the College of Arts and Humanities and find an archive of our shows at our website, cah.fresnostate.edu, or on our blog, fresnostatecah.com.